Hey guys, hope everyone is doing well. The announcement for today is that your photo essay is due, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys created with that project. Objectives, I'm going to introduce the final portfolio assignment, and we're going to brainstorm for the writer's statement, which is part of the final portfolio. So to introduce the final portfolio, this is one of my Monday, Wednesday classes. If you go to content and then either in the assignment sheets folder or down here in the final portfolio assignment, you can open up the assignment sheet. And I have it right here. So I'm just going to read you guys the assignment sheet, but you can always go back to it on your own. So final portfolio, what am I doing? The portfolio displays the unit projects that you've done in this class. The portfolio is our version of a final exam, so you guys don't have to take a final. You guys will choose 2 unit projects and revise them for the final portfolio. This is using the feedback that I gave you primarily when I grade your assignments. You will also include a writer's statement at the beginning. Your writer's statement and unit project should all be in one document, Word or PDF. Skip to a new page between each major part of the portfolio. So for example, after your writer's statement, if it ends in the middle of a page, just skip down to the next one to show the difference between the assignments. What do I need to include? The parts of the portfolio are, number 1, the writer's statement, about 750 words. It can be more, that's fine. Begin your portfolio with a short essay that explains what tools have you gained that have changed you as a reader, writer, or thinker. Be specific. Which 2 unit projects did you choose to revise, and why did you choose them? What did you change about them? And how can you apply content from this class to other areas of life? So this could be other classes, your work, or your personal life. Then after that writer's statement, you're going to include the 4 unit projects. So paste your 4 unit projects into the portfolio and in the order that we completed them. 2 of the unit projects should be significantly revised based on my feedback and the strategies that I introduced in the lecture videos. Why am I doing this? The portfolio offers you a chance to consider the work that you've done over the course of the semester and see how your writing, that should say has changed. I even put this on Grammarly to spell check it. Anyway, has changed. It's also your chance to keep working on your 2 unit projects. A big focus of this course is the power of revision. The writer's statement is about metacognition, thinking about thinking. It gives you a chance to reflect on what you've done and how you can use it in the future. What's the due date? So this is for the Monday, Wednesday people. It's due Monday, May 18th by the end of the day. So that's the first day of finals week. For Tuesday people, it'll be due Tuesday, May 19th at the end of the day. How will it be graded? I'll be grading on the following 4 categories, 15 points each, whether the portfolio is complete. So I want to make a note here, this semester has obviously been crazy. If one of the major assignments, one of the unit projects, you weren't able to do it, this is a good time for you to work on it and include it in the final portfolio. Number 2, how much you revised the 2 unit projects. So did you take the feedback that I gave and did you use revision strategies to make it even stronger? Number 3, care and proofreading. So in this week's video, I'm going to talk about revision strategies, but next week I'm going to talk about proofreading. And I'll be looking for to what extent you proofread your portfolio and the quality of your writer's statement. Basically, did you answer all of the questions that the writer's statement is asking? And finally, I will not be giving comments within the paper like I did for the unit projects. Research shows that those aren't useful when a project is complete, but I will be sending you feedback about the portfolio overall with your grade. All right, so that's the assignment sheet. I want to talk some about the writer's statement. So this is a new piece of writing that you'll produce for the final portfolio. I want you guys to think about this in the way that when a person goes to an art gallery and they're looking at a piece of art, often next to that piece of art will be an artist statement in which the artist sort of explains to the viewer what they want them to see in the piece. They set up the context. It's the same thing with your writer's statement. You're setting the reader up, me, to sort of think about your writing, about your process over the course of the semester. So you're giving context to the writing that you did and the revisions that you did. A couple notes about the writer's statement. Being specific is really useful. You do not have to answer the questions in the order that I asked. If you write a draft and you realize that you want to address those questions in a different way, that's fine, just as long as you answer all of them. What else? Oh, you don't have to look at the writer's statement as a course review. I love reading course reviews, but talking more about the specific strategies that you got from the class is useful. I think sometimes students feel like they have to say what they liked and didn't like about the class, or most of all, sometimes I think students feel pressure to say like, oh, this was the best class and it changed my life and stuff like that. No, I'm looking for specific ways in which you changed your writing, in which you can take tools into the future, stuff like that. Okay, so this first question in the writer's statement is, what tools have changed you as a reader, writer, and thinker? So basically, what have we done in this class that sort of changed the game for you? And what I'm looking for is you to sort of pick on 1 to 2, maybe even 3 specific ways that stuff from the class sort of changed your thinking. So I've made a list here of some of the things that we did in class that you could talk about for this first part of the writer's statement. So the first one is shitty first drafts. I know that the first time I encountered this idea, it really changed writing for me, and I think it does for a lot of people. So if you read this piece and it changed the way that you approached writing, then this could definitely be something that you talk about in the writer's statement. Also in class, we talked about annotation strategies or note-taking. Genre analysis, so that would be we analyzed the genres that we read in class, but you guys also did genre analysis of your own work, and maybe that changed the way that you view your own writing, or in the way that you view writing tasks or reading tasks. Writing in new genres, so we wrote a profile, you had the option of the research paper or the opinion piece, and the photo essay. If those were new genres for you, that maybe changed the way that you think about writing, for example. Style analysis, this was when we pulled specific sentences or sets of sentences out of pieces that we read and sort of analyzed why did they use the punctuation they did, why did the sentence have that specific word choice, why was it the length that it was, and then we looked at models of how a sentence that was still grammatically correct but slightly different could totally change the meaning. So that kind of style analysis, maybe that was useful to you. Peer review and group work, we read that article about being a peer reviewer that you could talk about, or we did a lot of group conversations in class. Research skills, things like using Google Scholar. Revision and proofreading strategies, either from earlier in the class or stuff that I'm going to introduce this week and next week. And finally, reflection, which is partially the genre analysis that you guys wrote at the end of your papers is a form of reflection, but also some of the warm-ups that we did in class were reflection as well. So you don't have to pick these specifically, but I wanted to give you guys some ideas to work with. Feel free to take a picture of this part of the video or write some of these down, and you can absolutely use them in the first part of your writer's statement. So at some point for brainstorming for this, you can either pause the video and do this now, or you could do it after you do some of the revisions for 2 of your unit assignments. Basically, I want you to make a chart and think about what you want to say for each of these areas. So in the first part of the chart, what tools have changed you as a reader, writer, thinker? Which pieces did you revise and what changes did you make? And how can you apply this class to other areas of life? For the middle part of the chart, you may want to, if you're brainstorming before you make the revisions, think about which pieces do I think that I want to revise, or you could also just wait until after you do the revisions and do that part. Okay, so at some point, I think the chart will be a really useful way to make sure that you're getting some of your ideas out before you actually write the artist statement. Okay, revision strategies. So I have sort of 4 things that you can think about for revision once you choose the 2 pieces you want to revise. So the first is to make a revision plan. What I want you guys to focus on most of all is looking at the feedback that I gave on the pieces that you turned in. So I left both marginal comments in those little comment bubbles, and I also left some commentary on the side. So looking at the feedback that I gave, and then writing down a plan for yourself of here are the major areas that I need to work on, here are the things that I think that I want to change in this piece. As a note, like with my comments, if you have questions about them, feel free to email me, because I definitely want you guys to use that feedback. So if it's ever unclear, definitely reach out. The second way that you can work on revisions is reverse outline. So we talked about this in an earlier video, but just writing down the main idea of each paragraph and thinking about if every paragraph goes back to the main idea of the paper, if every sentence goes back to the main idea of the paragraph, and if your paragraphs are in the right order. The next one is checking your topic sentences. So if you just look at the first sentence of every paragraph, those are like little mini theses that will guide the reader. So you can sort of look at each topic sentence and make sure it's saying the best version of what you want to say. And finally, introduction and conclusion strategies. Is your introduction really drawing in the reader? Is it starting specific? Is it getting the reader excited to read the paper? And conclusion strategies, is the paper indicating, like, why does this matter? So what? Who cares? Those are questions that you can answer in the conclusion. Okay? So those are some of the things you can think about as you work on revision. Next steps. Okay, so next week, the rough draft of your writer's statement is due. So we're going to do this like we did peer review for the call to action paper, where you'll have between today and next week to post your rough draft of the writer's statement, and then after everyone posts, then you'll go through and do peer review of 2 of the of your peers' writer's statements. You can work on revising your unit projects at your own pace. So the portfolio is due 2 weeks from the date the video is posted, so you have time to work on stuff. And I would suggest that you pace yourself and think about your other classes and commitments and stuff. And then next week I'll talk about proofreading in the video. All right, guys, email me if you have questions, and have a good week.